Okay, across 2 tweaks, and this is where a lot of the good stuff is. So if you often find that you accidentally quit applications, you can change the behavior by requiring Shift, Command and Q to quit, or any of these other options here. And then below that, we have some improvements to mission control. Now I'm just going to pause and get some applications and windows on screen. Okay, we've got a few open here. Now let's show the default behavior first. If I press F3 to invoke mission control, if I hover over a window and press, say, Command and W to close, nothing happens. I can't press Command H to hide it. Those don't work. Whereas if I come back and flick this toggle on here, now when I go into mission control and hover over a window and press Command and W, it closes. The border does still remain. That can't be helped. It has to be there. But I can be more targeted now to the exact windows and applications that I want to close. In fact, I can even just right click to close the window here. And the reason that I can right click is because of this setting right here. You can let right click close or minimize the window, or it can quit or hide the application. There's also a middle click option as well. And over this informational here, we're told that if your mouse doesn't have a middle click, you can simulate it with any of these applications. Again, really, really helpful. That didn't even need to be there. Okay, the next set of tweaks that are worth looking at involve the dock. So when clicking an active application in the dock, by default, nothing is going to happen. You can see here that I'm clicking numbers and nothing's occurring. Now you can change this behavior to either hiding the application with a click or minimizing the window. So the app is now hidden, meaning I can get it back really quickly with the Mac app switcher when I need it. I think I'm going to leave it at do nothing there. Then below that, the default behavior is when you click on a dock icon and the windows are minimized, if you've got more than one, it's only going to unminimize one of them. And you can see down here, I've actually got 4 numbers windows minimized. Now, if I click numbers, 1 is shown on the screen. That's the expected behavior. But if I minimize this again, then just flick this toggle. Now I'm going to click the dock once more, and slowly all 4 minimized windows appear. So 2 excellent dock tweaks there. The next tweaks that I'll show are for the Finder, and being able to configure the context menu is a real time saver. Now by default, when I right click on a file, it looks like this. Now if I come over and click configure, I can add all of these here. So these top ones will go into the main menu, and I'll check some here that I tend to find quite useful. I mean, I dare say over time, I'm probably going to use all of these at some point. Now, some of these are only going to work in certain areas of the Finder, and you're told here when that's the case. And there are tips on some of these as well. Then below the main menu, there is an overflow menu as well, which just helps manage the size of that context menu if it's getting a little bit too large. I'll show you how that works. I'm just going to pop this image video dimensions one in there as well, because that's really quite useful. Now, when I right click on one of these files, I've got those main menu actions down here. So I'll copy the file path here as an example, then switch across to BB Edit and just paste it in there, then come back. Now, if I right click on this image file this time and come down, this is that overflow menu. And I can see the dimensions of the image file calculated there. Really good. Now, one context menu that I should add that I always have is toggle hidden files. Now, sometimes I need to get to some hidden files on a remote server, and having this option is a time saver for when I forget the keyboard shortcut to do that. If I right click on some white space here, toggle hidden files appears at the bottom. So I'll select it and I'll just come over here to this library folder where I know there are hidden files to show. And here it is. You can see it's slightly grayed out there. Now, if you remember the shortcut, which is Shift, Command and period, then you don't need this. But sometimes you can have one too many shortcuts to remember, especially if you don't need to use them that often. Okay, some other useful tweaks here within the Finder. You can move files with your cut and paste shortcuts of Command and X and Command and V. Now, as I'm sure you know, by default, if you press return on a file within the Finder, it just allows you to rename it directly. And sometimes it's nice to navigate to a file, press return and expect it to open. Now this one down here I love. Create a new text file. So by default, you can press Option and N here, or any of these alternatives, and a new text file will be created. The text is highlighted for you, ready to rename, and you've got a new file, quick and easy. But with the options below that, you can take this a step further. Now what I've set up here is the default file extension for these text files will be MD, because I like writing in Markdown format, and I want the file to be opened after I rename it directly. Because more often than not, if I'm creating a new text file, I want to start typing straight away. So now, when I key in that shortcut, a Markdown file is created. I'll give it a name. And now it opens in BB Edit, which is my default application for Markdown. And I'm off to the races. I'm ready to type.